guys, because you know they put it on the...
Nothing beats golf.
So you can see their face when
Yeah,
they're
right.
talking like this.
Grab an early morning tea time and stay for the game. Less than an hour's drive from
We are
downtown
live on the
Houston,
Book of
where the
Faces,
city
and we
meets the
will
country.
shut
High Meadow
that
Ranch
down.
Golf.
So we will
Tax issues
not
and
do the
problems don't
software
start
update
and
from
stop on
Apple right
April
now.
15th. If you run a business, have been audited, have tax debt, or overwhelmed
there we
with
go.
new tax law, call the experts at Taxation Solutions. Taxation Solutions can represent you for tax relief, negotiate settlements with
Pretty
the
good.
IRS, improve your
Man, it
business
looks really
profits,
clean.
and structure your
Does. It
taxes
looks
to
real
the
nice. I
lowest
was sitting there
legally
doing all
allowed.
that, and then when I didn't get a
Schedule
chance to test it, I was like,
consultation today.
uh-oh.
Call
There we go.
832-529-2400 or visit taxationsolutions.net.
Join the
Actually, have her
Taxation
check the
Solutions Show
volume.
Wednesdays at
Yeah,
1 on
she actually
1110
liked the volume level there for
KTEK.
me.
Have you racked up more
Doesn't
than
sound very good.
It
$10,000
doesn't?
in credit card
Sounds
debt?
way
Are
too
you
loud.
barely getting by? Making
Nikki, can you
minimum
hear us?
payments? You should
Yes.
know.
How's
The
it
credit
sound?
card companies are tricking you
Hold on,
into
let me put my
thinking
headphones on.
there's no
Okay.
way out. Credit card companies would rather you didn't know that there are ways you can become debt-free, and you don't have to pay the entire amount
need
you
to
owe.
upload all
right, go
There are
ahead.
debt relief programs
Testing,
that help
1,
people
2,
like you
3.
escape overwhelming credit card debt.
Testing, 1, 2,
National
3.
Debt Relief has helped
All right,
tens
now,
of
Jay.
thousands of
Nikki,
people just
can you hear
like
me?
you
Jay's
reduce
on
more
low.
than
2, 3.
500
You want me up a
million
little louder?
dollars of debt.
But you
National
need to be
Debt
higher
Relief
than
has helped
Tom.
so many people.
Okay.
They're A+ rated by
Check,
the Better
1,
Business
2,
Bureau.
1,
You
2.
don't have to declare
Nikki, how's that
bankruptcy
sound?
or take out a consolidation loan.
Nikki.
You have the right to settle your
Nikki,
debt
can you
for
hear
a
him?
mere
Yes,
fraction
I can
of
hear
what
him.
you owe.
Okay, he's asking
It's a
how's it
large
sound.
portion of your debt now.
All right, talk,
Call
Jay.
National
Yeah,
Debt Relief
testing,
at
1, 2, 3.
800-518-4020.
You sound good, you sound good.
800-518-4020. 800-518-4020.
More than 1 out of 10 Americans struggle with
Need some
mental health issues
turntables.
today. This affects relationships in the workplace, at home, and in all aspects of life.
All right, 30
I'm Paul
seconds,
Loudon.
guys.
Join me Tuesday
Morning,
for
Jamie.
Theories of Mind, where I teach you to recognize and help your family, coworkers, or friends struggling with these debilitating disorders. Talk to
Keep
me
meaning to
about
send
heading
Scott
off problems
Carson a
before they
note, 'cause
start,
he's starting to do
and
these,
learn how to correct them when they
live
occur
things.
on Theories of Mind on Business 1110 KTEK.
Paul Loudon, Theories of Mind, Tuesdays at 3 p.m. on Business 1110 KTEK.
The following program does not necessarily represent the views or opinions of the staff, management, or ownership of this station.
It's time to get on the right path with Right Path Real Estate Radio with Tom Perry and Jason Bible. Get the answer to your question that's keeping you from taking action and succeeding today. Get ready. The guys that will put your fears behind you are on the air now. They're taking calls at 713-785-1817.
All right, fellas, hot mics
Toll free
in
877-881-0271. Here's Tom and Jason.
1.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Jason and Tom live in the studio, Right Path Real Estate Radio. We have a call-in number. We are a call-in show. We also are live on the Book of Faces. Our call-in number is 713-785-1817. 713-785-1817. I'll close this so you can just see our logo in the background. So if you're watching on the Book of Faces, you can see us live sitting in our studio. Also, you can listen to us on iHeartRadio. You can listen to us on TuneIn Radio. You can listen to us on business1110ktek.com. Is there any other way to get a hold of us? I think that's pretty much it.
We talked about TuneIn, right? Let's see what
TuneIn,
else.
iHeart, Business1110 KTEK, Facebook,
Podcasts.
Yeah, anything else?
For right now.
For right now, that's all there is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be on iTunes soon.
Feel like I'm going through all the ways that you can cook shrimp. You can get shrimp kebabs and shrimp burgers, shrimp omelets. Yeah, grilled shrimp, boiled shrimp, fried shrimp. Yeah, and he gets down to the end. He goes, "Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's about all there is."
Yep.
So there's only a small plethora of ways to get a hold of us. So what do you think? Talk about real estate today?
Yeah, or politics, and that might turn about half the audience off.
Yeah, politics.
Or they might really like it. I don't know.
Yeah, it depends. Yeah, I was talking to somebody yesterday, right after the event, and we went to the Fort Bend RIA last night, and I was talking to somebody just explaining the whole, there's so few people that just understand that we have like about 310 million people on our in our country, and they keep throwing out this number. There's 20 million people now on Obamacare, as if there were 20 million uninsured people that are now on Obamacare, and that's or that there's 20 million people that have access to health care now that didn't have access to health care before. And the reality is what people don't realize is that, you know, we were regulated at the state level, and I'm kind of an expert on this because, you know, I'm a licensed, insurance agent. But 40 out of 50 states had some type of fund or program for uninsured people that got a catastrophic illness, and it was like a high risk pool.
Right. We had in Texas. I think we
Texas Insurance Risk Pool.
Right, and then we had CHIP also for kids. We essentially had two funds set up. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. We had CHIP that was for Medicaid, and then for children only, Children Health Insurance Plan, and then we had the Texas Insurance Risk Pool, which essentially said that, you know, if you had a heart transplant and didn't have insurance, now you can buy it. Here's the caveat. You pay into it. It's guaranteed acceptance regardless of medical conditions, things like that. Whatever is your serious event that was a health event, you're not covered on that for 12 months. So, you know, yeah, granted, it could be a financially devastating event, but it doesn't mean that you have a heart transplant and you can't buy health insurance. So there was a workaround on that.
But this is really designed, I think, where a lot of people get confused on health insurance. Like, that kind of stuff is designed for stuff that literally is going to kill you.
Yeah, right, exactly.
This isn't like I broke my leg
Right.
and I got a bruise, or this is stuff that people will die from.
So you had that, number one, and then number two, you know, you really had a situation where, you know, like I was on health insurance before, and now, you know, on Obamacare, which means that I'm one of that 20 million that they're counting. But it wasn't like I was an uninsured person before. I had insurance before. I have it now. I was forced into Obamacare because, you know, all the plans in Texas have now gone the route of Obamacare. So unless you are on a employer-sponsored plan, you're pretty much in Obamacare anyway.
Right. Well, you know what I thought?
So they're counting everybody.
What I thought was fascinating, too, is when you see this discussion about how Republicans, quote, killed a portion of Obamacare that would have made it profitable, and what they're talking about are those shared risk pools.
Yeah.
Which works really well
Yeah.
when insurers are actually making some money, right?
Yeah.
Because it sets up essentially a
course.
savings account
Right.
that they share all between all the insurers.
Right.
But
which is how the risk pool exists anyway, right?
Right.
And it's really designed for when carriers go out of business. That's why it exists, is that if you buy insurance from a company that goes out of business, you know, what happens to all those years and years and years that you paid into premium? Works really well for homeowners insurance, but, you know, agents are not allowed to talk about that's a fallback position. That's you're restricted from even talking about that in a sales presentation because it's not part of the sales feature, right? Of selling that policy. So,
but what's fascinating is when you start to have discussions around, oh, well, what happened to those risk pools? All these policies were underwater. There's no shared risk where there's no money.
But the problem is that they said, hey, 80% of all premiums have to be paid out on an annual basis. So there's no ability to build a risk pool because you can set up you can't set up reserves at all. So anyhow,
we will threaten you guys that we will talk about this kind of stuff.
Unless you call.
713-785-1817.
Hey, Erica, I forgot to tell you, Erica, she listens in on our show on a regular basis, and she's actually been invited to do a real estate radio show in Spanish. Ooh. And so she said she's been listening to our show and that it's been really helping her a lot, and she's learned a ton, and she's trying to model her show after our show. And cool. I thought, well, that's a really nice. Yeah. When I was doing the trick or treat thing on Sunday, she was sending me some Facebook messaging, and I really appreciated the conversation. So she's a great gal, and I wish her all the best when it comes to doing her radio show and all that.
I was going to say she could have us on, but I don't think we're going to understand. What's going on? So
I could speak some Pig Latin.
Yeah. So weekend retreat, we had about 30 folks out there.
Yeah.
Had lots of questions. It amazes me the people that we attract to that event. It really does. Yeah. There's a handful of new investors, but there's a lot of seasoned folks in there, that are looking for advice, any little tips or tricks to be able to take their business to the next level. It was just a really fun event.
Well, I think there's a lot of people. It doesn't take much to start a business. It takes a lot to run a business like a business.
Yeah.
I mean, it takes discipline and it takes knowledge. And so starting a business just takes an idea and some marketing, and you can do guerrilla marketing and things like that, and it takes some sales. But then, then the work begins. And if you're not, disciplined to execute a plan or to design a plan on paper, when you talk about mathematically modeling a business, and most people they're like, what?
Yeah.
What are you talking about that? And I feel a little bit like, what are you talking about, Willis? So, what I realize is that there's a lot of people that start in the real estate business and don't really know how to start a business. Mm-hmm. And so they're in business, but not really. It's more like more like by default. It's like they're in business because they started a business, but they didn't really start a business.
It's kind of like I'm listening to a lot of ads from Uber right now. Of course, Uber, which tells me they got more money than they know what to do with, so they're spending all this money on ads.
Sure.
And they're calling the campaigns the, quote, side hustle. And I'm like, yeah, that may work as an Uber driver.
Yeah, right.
But doing real estate is not your side hustle.
Right.
This is like a real, business.
Right.
So it's interesting to me, when you start having discussions, and I'll tell you what, this is going to sound terrible, but how a lot of these people find our radio show or how they find us is that they work with another real estate educator,
right?
And they end up on our doorstep,
right?
And they're like, I've spent $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 on coaching, and I've got like one flip to show for it.
Yeah.
Or I've got 7 or 8, and I haven't made any money.
Yeah.
I haven't even broke even yet.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there, and you're like, whoo, that's rough. All right, now let's talk about what it is.
They're typically teaching how to do the transaction.
Right.
And this business is way more than it. Now, the transaction's important, but the business is way more than just the transaction.
Well, and it's fascinating to me because it almost seems like part of our class, we've got to deprogram them from kind of the real estate educator guru nonsense.
Right.
Where and one of my favorites is, well, I want passive income. Well, what's that? Well, I'm going to buy single-family rentals. I'm like,
That's
they're not passive.
Right,
they're
right.
not.
Yeah.
They're not. That doesn't even make sense.
But my teacher said they were.
Some dude said they were, and I paid all this money, and and I get it. I mean, we've all done it. Or my favorite is there's 9. Scott Carson and I were talking.
Now it can be passive. You can hire a guy like Jerry Ta.
Yeah, you can hire Jerry,
and you can make it passive.
Yeah. My favorite
but that's
is
not the way most of these gurus are teaching to do it, though.
Right. Or my favorite is there's 900 different ways to buy real estate, and I'm like, not really. There's only a handful of ways that you can actually buy real estate, right?
Right.
But what's important is the marketing and the sales aspect of real estate.
2 minutes,
so the idea that in most of these presentations that's never even talked about is somewhat of a challenge. So, I see we've got a caller. Gary, we'll take you on. This is Jason Bible and Tom Perry of Right Path Real Estate.
Good morning, guys. This is Gary in San Antonio.
Hey, Gary, what's up?
Well, I had an appointment yesterday, and the Bexar County Appraisal District showed $1,867 on the square footage on this house, and I get there, and there's 400 square footage that is unpermitted on the back of the house, and I'm not sure how to deal with that.
Well, first off, is the quality of the extra square footage, does it look like the rest of the house? In other words, is that a good thing that they've added on to that 400 square feet, or is that a bad thing?
It looked pretty good to me.
Okay, so and then what kind of room is it?
It's a living area.
Okay, so they added about 400 square feet of extra living area. And is it air-conditioned space?
Yes, it is.
Okay, and then is the foundation similar to the foundation of the rest of the house?
1 minute.
Yes.
Okay, so all of that, and then the other thing is does that extra square footage, so from 1867, does 2,200 square feet make it one of the largest houses in the neighborhood? Can you pull a comp of a similar type 2,200 square foot house?
Yeah, I've got to pull the comps on it this morning. I didn't get a chance to pull it yesterday after the meeting. He kind of caught me by surprise in that. But the question on that, I guess, basically comes on the back end when you're dealing with selling the house and reporting it to the appraisal district or reporting the sale as a 2,200 square foot house.
Yeah, so what will happen is that the appraisal district will typically pick up that when you sell it as a 2,200 square foot house, although it's going to happen when you get the appraisal done. The appraiser should come out and remeasure the house, and so that will get picked up automatically by the appraisal district based off of the sale. But now here's the thing is, let's say that the dollars per square foot on an 1,800 square foot house is $80 a foot. you're not necessarily going to be able to add $80 a square foot times 400 square feet and get an extra $32,000 worth of price on that, because a den or a living space is the least expensive type of room that you can add, because it's just basically foundation, bottom plate, 2x4 studs, top plate, roof, those kind of thing. It'd be different if it was another kitchen or another bathroom, and we talk about this in our mastermind. I think you know that those are the most expensive rooms because they involve plumbing and things like that. So as long as they did, that they increase the size of the air conditioning, because obviously you need about another, at least half a ton, possibly a ton, depending on the heat load and all those kind of things. But I'd probably look at adding another, if comps supported, another $25 to $30 a square foot just on that. On that extra square footage. So it's an extra $10 or $15, maybe $20,000, depending on what the comps say.
Yeah,
all right. Hey, if you can hold through the break, we can continue the conversation on the other side. And if you need to go, hopefully that answers the question. You're listening to Right Path Real Estate Radio, 713-785-1817. Thanks, Nikki.
Mike's off, guys.
All right, thanks. I didn't mean to cut him off or anything like that, but I realized that we were running out of our minute. So
willing to share their knowledge and experience with others.
So,
we're not just another guru-driven club. We're a community of Houston's most successful real estate investors. Discover more at richradio.org. The Realty Investment Club of Houston, the Rich Club, has taught more real estate investors than any other program in the state. Join the Rich Club and become part of the most informed community in Houston. Quickly discover your investment options. Receive the information you need to get started. Learn what it takes to avoid the pitfalls of real estate investment. You have questions? We have answers. If you're considering investments in Houston's real estate, then richradio.org is the quickest way to join the community and learn how to make money in today's market. Learn more about the education and community at richradio.org.
Yeah, I'll follow up with that.
Join
after
our community
after
to learn
the
what
deal.
it takes to make
You're talking
money
about the banners
in
back
Houston.
here? Yeah.
Visit richradio.org. That's richradio.org.
Investor loans offering up to 100% financing are still available. You just have to know where to look. Look no further than Noble Mortgage. Noble Mortgage is a full-service mortgage company that's been helping investors since 2003. Noble Mortgage offers up to 100% financing to investors that covers purchase, repairs, and closing costs. In addition to private money, Noble Mortgage offers conventional loans, FHA, and even no-income documentation loans for both residential and commercial properties. Call and ask about our 5-point guarantee, which includes free pre-qualifications within 2 business days. Call 713-680-8100 or visit noblemoney.com. That's noblemoney.com. Our team has over 50 years experience in the mortgage industry. Call us today, 713-680-8100, or visit us on the web, noblemoney.com, noblemoney.com.
NMLS 292143, 8203 Willow Place Drive, Houston, Texas, 77070.
Are you looking for an investor-friendly general contractor for your investment property? Then call Fast Track Remodeling at 832-742-9992 or reach us on the web at fasttrackremodeling.com.
Fast Track Remodeling specializes in turnkey remodeling of single-family investment properties, whether it's a flip rehab or a rental rehab. We manage every aspect of a rehab from start to finish with a highly efficient, standardized process.
Over the last 5 years, Fast Track has completed over 500 projects, which has helped us create our 3 keys to success. Use a detailed scope of work so that everything gets done, train and maintain quality crews so it gets done right, and complete the work in a proper order so it gets done
we're
fast.
Supposed to go to Garner
No more
State
managing
Park
it
on
yourself.
Friday.
No more doing the work yourself.
But the weather is
Fast Track Remodeling really does manage it all.
So give us a call today at 832-742-9992. Again, that's 832-742-9992. Or on the web at fasttrackremodeling.com.
Looking for straight answers to your financial questions? Tune in weekday mornings from 8 to 9 for Straight Talk Money, hosted by Mike Robertson. No hype, no infomercials, just plain talk to give you the information you need to make you a better investor. We may not be able to control the future, but we can learn to control how it impacts us. Listen to Straight Talk Money, hosted by Mike Robertson, weekdays 8 to 9 a.m. on Business 1110 KTEK.
Did you know that
30 seconds, guys.
63% of homes contain allergens from cockroaches? And that mice spread potent asthma triggers found in 82% of homes? It's true. Common household pests are major offenders on the list of indoor allergens. Learn what you can do to help your family breathe easier. Visit pestworld.org. A public service message from the National Pest Management Association and the Asthma and Allergy Foundation of America.
This is Business.
All right, guys, hot mics in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back, Right Path Real Estate Radio, 713-785-1817. I got to make sure that my phone's on vibrate. That's kind of weird. Hey, Nikki, can you hear that?
Yeah, we're getting some weird feedback.
Yeah. Huh. That's not on my end.
You can hear now?
Yeah. We're hearing the delay. What are this? Sounds like the speakers are on your side or something like that. So, oh well.
All right. So, is Gary still on the line, or is he?
No, Gary's gone.
Gary's gone.
Okay. All right. Well, I got a question here on Facebook from Rhonda here. I've got a question about rentals and LLCs. Is it best to set up a series LLC and then separate entities under that for each property, or just one LLC? Trying to figure out what to do to help with tax and reduce any liabilities as we are adding homes to our portfolio. Okay, so we don't give legal or financial or tax advice.
That's our disclaimer.
But I will tell you this. I think there's a lot of information out there that you'll find is conflicting. Also note that for every entity you set up, you have to maintain that entity. Separate bank accounts, separate set of books. I mean, all that stuff. So I would talk to a competent real estate attorney and figure out what is best for you.
Not necessarily one of the ones that are being referred out by some of the big national guru companies and all that kind of stuff, because they're going to create Nevada corporations and a much more complicated system than what you're going to need to do. And what you really have to look at is how are you doing your funding? Because, for example, when we had Daryl with Noble Mortgage, I mean, you can't do conventional financing in an LLC, for example.
Well, and you'll see you hear somebody that says, well, you can get a 30-year fixed rate Fannie Mae loan for a rental property. Totally true.
Yeah.
And then deed that over to an LLC. Not a good idea.
Yeah, right.
That can't trigger a due on sale clause, and you just lost that.
Yeah.
That
is it
property.
likely to trigger a due on sale clause? Not likely.
Not likely.
But what do you really? How much? Where's the liability really in owning a single family property?
Yep.
And it's mainly in people getting hurt on the property, and that's what you have insurance for.
Yep.
And so that's without trying to complicate things. Now, if you had 100 of them, then that might be a different story, right?
So I've got some friends of mine. They have a whole lot of buy and hold portfolios and owner finance, and they'll group them in LLCs by risk.
Right.
So lower end properties they'll put into one LLC. Their owner finance stuff will all go into another LLC. Let's say they have a small commercial somewhere in there that has its own LLC. That starts making a lot of sense. But if you've got a handful of single family properties, it doesn't make sense. And then the other challenge is it makes it really challenging to finance these things with the most favorable terms if they're parked in these different LLCs. So not only do you have a tax question and a legal question, you also have a business question.
Well, you have a financing question.
Yeah. So really just to go out and say, oh, we'll just do this.
Well, then you also have to look at the seasoning of the entity and all that kind of stuff in terms of business credit and those kind of things. And,
well, yeah, I mean, and what's your future plans? Because those, depending on what you're trying to do in the future, for example, I was chatting with a guy last night at the Fort Bend RIA, and we were talking about college, and he's figured out kind of the numbers on college and how to get these different grants and all this other stuff. And his goals would be very different from mine. For example, he expenses a whole ton of stuff through his business and effectively pays very little in taxes relative to the amount of gross revenue he creates. Hey, all that's fine and good until you try to go to a bank and start raising some capital.
Right.
So there's a lot of it sounds like a pretty simple question, but it's got an inordinate amount of impact on your business today and what you want to do over the next couple of years. So
typically our general advice is if you're going to until you reach 10 properties in a buy and hold portfolio, just do it in your own name, correct?
Yeah, that's what I would do.
Unless you've got Fannie Mae,
if they're Fannie Mae loans, just do them in your name.
And this is if you're just doing it like within your family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
let's see. What other questions do we have? How bad is it to leave asbestos siding on when trying to resell? Like just putting Hardy over it and then removing. Also, if there is visible rotten wood, is it acceptable to leave it to be covered with hardy, or should it be removed in place? If we're flipping it, it's always going to be a remove and replace. So that starts making a lot more sense.
Because I see, you don't really save much in terms of not pulling down the bad stuff, right? Now, the two separate questions. Rotten wood is different than doing asbestos. Yeah. Asbestos. What I'd rather do, I try and disturb asbestos as little as possible. So if there's any way that you can leave the asbestos without disturbing it, then that's fine. If not, the legal way to do it is to hire an asbestos removal company, have that all handled properly, and then you can reside it with whatever you want. But I've never done that from Fast Track or even our own properties. If we buy properties,
and even hiring it, you really need to look at your state rules and the national rules, because there are, as long as you're not doing properties over, if I remember back from my AHIRA classes, as long as you're not going and demoing more than like 4 houses at one time that are all contiguous, you don't really, if I remember correctly, you may or may not be required to hire an actual asbestos remediation company.
Yeah.
So there are some caveats, some carve-outs.
Because we have people that are listening all over the country. All over the country. Yeah, check your own local ordinances and follow those rules.
Yeah. So
that's our disclaimer.
That's what you're going to have to do. An asbestos inspector should be able to tell you that.
Yeah, but I can tell you from firsthand experience with, over 600 properties with Fast Track and, coming up on 300 properties with Houston House Buyers and Sell Us Your House, we've never, ever removed asbestos siding and replaced it with something else.
If we've bought one with asbestos, I don't think we have.
I know we've done a bunch with Fast Track. And typically what will happen is if you've got a broken piece or something like that, or a missing piece is really what's more likely, then you can replace that piece with a non-asbestos replacement that looks at, they make that old siding has been around for years and years and years, and they make pieces that look exactly like the original, but do not contain asbestos.
Yeah, the real problem with asbestos is when it becomes friable,
right?
And that's the stuff
that becomes airborne.
That's when the friability of asbestos, when you can take it in your hand and crush it, and that's when it becomes airborne and a potential issue. But asbestos just sitting there, like on your car brakes, is pretty innocuous.
Asbestos was a great product. I mean, it's a great product. It lasted forever. I mean,
so is DDT.
Yeah, right.
But when you use too much of it, it's a problem.
Yeah, it's a poison. Asbestos is bad for the lungs.
But you know what? So is water. Yeah, water's bad for you in a large amount.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
it can't kill you.
It can.
Like second leading cause of what causes what kills children is water.
Yeah,
drowning in a pool. Right. So any of this stuff can be bad for you. But all right, let me see if I've got any other questions. I think that's all the questions I've got right now.
Hey, good morning, Alexander. Just call you Alex.
So back to our weekend retreat. Got a lot of fascinating questions, and I think one of my favorite things to talk about in the retreat is when you're building a business and you're looking at cash flow versus profits.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people write down on their dream board, if you will, I want to flip 6 houses this year, 7 houses. I want to buy a house a month. And what they don't realize is that they're holding those assets for 90 to 180 days.
Yeah.
And really, you're not buying one house a month, you're buying 6.
Yeah.
Even if you're doing buy and hold rental properties. And I know a lot of the landlord educators out there don't necessarily talk about this, where, if you want to buy 10 houses, just buy like a house a month for the next 10 months. It's like, okay, that sounds great and all, but you've got to have the capital to acquire it.
Right.
You've got to have the capital to be able to do the rehab. Because although these loans have the rehab in them, you've got to put that cost up front.
Yeah.
While the rehab's going on, then once it's finished, you ask for that construction draw.
Yeah.
And it's
now some hard money lenders will work with certain construction companies where you don't have to come out of the pocket with that.
Right. So Noble Mortgage and obviously Fast Track work really, really well together, where that's not an issue. But in most cases, that's what ends up happening. So we get a lot of investors that come to us and they're like, well, I've got to have $40,000, $50,000, $100,000 in capital because I have all of these construction projects going on, and nobody kind of talked about that in my real estate training class. I'm like, well, that's the reality of this business. You've got to have adequate capital to be able to do these things. So one of the things we talk about in our class is we start mapping out where do you want to go in 5 years, where do you want to be at the end of this year, we start backing into, okay, well, how much cash do you need to float these things? How much in marketing do you need to spend? How much time do you need to spend out there looking for deals? And when they see all that at once, they start realizing, okay, this is like a real business, and I do have to plan for all these expenditures.
Right.
So this is Jason Bible and Tom Perry with Right Path Real Estate. Call-in number 713-785-1817. We'll take more of your questions and calls after the break.
All right, I'm going to step out.
Mic's off.
Oh, geez. What
Are
was
you
my
a realtor
comment?
or seller that is
that's right.
concerned
Okay.
about the new TRID rules and closing on time? I'm Jennifer Hernandez, Senior Loan Officer at Legacy Mutual Mortgage, and we have mastered the 30-day close. We close on time, accurately,
Leah, I'll
and
talk
with
about
tons
that.
of communication. You'll have a dedicated team of a coordinator and a contract-to-close associate. Give me a call today at 713-579-3611, and let's talk about how we can help you
Where do
on
you
your
keep
next
disappearing
transaction.
to?
Equal
I'm
housing
training at
opportunity
CBS
lender.
at 610.
Okay.
The Realty Investment
I'll talk
Club
to you-
of
I'll talk
Houston
to you on
has
Friday.
taught more
All right,
real
bye.
estate investors than any other program in the state. Come check us out at richradio.org. If you're considering learning how to invest in real estate, then richradio.org is the quickest way to learn how to make money in the Houston market. We're not just another guru-driven club. We're a community of Houston's most successful real estate investors. Join our community to learn what it takes to make money in Houston. Visit richradio.org. That's RICH, radio.org.
Real estate investors, if you're not familiar with Quest IRA, let me tell you what you're missing. We've got free weekly educational classes, networking opportunities, and the ability to tap into trillions of dollars for your real estate investing deals. Come by our office or join us remotely as we simulcast all of our educational classes every Tuesday morning and evening. For more information, call us at 1-855-FUN-IRAs or visit our website at questira.com.
It's estimated that 9 out of 10 individual investors fight a losing battle against the big institutions. So what can you do about it? Hi, I'm Mary Beth Motisi, owner of Online Trading Academy here in Houston. Listen to Power Trading Hour to learn how the markets really work and how to think and act like the professionals. Call us at 281-820-8905 to register for our complimentary half-day class. Find out more at HoustonOTA.com and listen to Power Trading Hour, weekdays at 2 p.m. on Business 1110 KTEK.
Hello, Radio Land listeners. This is Ron Klinger, host of the Unleashed Radio Hour. Are you looking for fresh, uplifting, and engaging content that can help bring out the best of you and your organization? Do you want to unleash your potential and the potential of those around you? Well, join me each Thursday on Business 1110 KTEK for the Unleashed Radio Hour, where we tackle the everyday challenges to effectively managing and growing your career and business.
Join Ron Klinger for the Unleashed Radio Hour every Thursday afternoon at 3 on Business 1110 KTEK.
Hey, did Home Slice call you yesterday, the video guy?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I mean him at 1:30 at Ashford Hollow.
Okay,
and 4 o'clock
individuals and businesses across the great state of Texas. Whether you're searching for the best auto insurance in Fort Bend, a flood policy for a Galveston Beach
sounds like a really nice
property,
guy.
or coverage for your rental and investment homes in Houston, Texas General Insurance
Yeah, he's
Agency
got very much the
understands your
radio,
unique
the
needs.
RTV voice.
Throughout
Yeah,
the
he
Lone
does.
Star State, their experienced
Yes,
and
he
trusted
does.
independent agents offer guidance to clients on the risk-based needs associated with auto and home, investment properties, commercial, and farm and ranch coverage. Their commitment to quality and service allows them to compare multiple markets, coverage, and price to give you the best possible value. Texas General Insurance Agency appreciates the opportunity to learn how they can work for you. Call one of their experienced agents today at 713-622-5977. That's 713-622-5977. Or go to texasgeneralinsurance.com.
Rehab loans, conventional loans, FHA, and no-income documentation loans can seem scary unless you have the right mortgage company to guide you through the process. Since 2003, Noble Mortgage has been helping investors just like you. Whether rehabbing houses, buying your first home, rental, or commercial property, Noble Mortgage offers up to 100% financing. Call Noble Mortgage
I asked
Nikki
that. She said this is their 30-second.
noblemoney.com.
So
that's noblemoney.com.
I think both of them shot like 30 and 60-second ads. They're pretty good.
8203 Willow Place Drive, Houston, Texas, 77070.
This is Business.
All right, guys, both your mics are hot.
Hey, welcome back. Right Path Real Estate Radio, 713-785-1817. During the break, I'm going through. We've got a relatively large rehab that we're about ready to start. Yeah, it's about $90,000, and so we're going through that right now. And we actually closed on the property today, so we're buying it for $110,000, $90,000 rehab. So we'll be all in for about $200,000, not counting holding costs and closing costs. And ARV is about, I think, somewhere rock solid $300,000. Could maybe push it a little bit to $315,000. It's a nice neighborhood, corner lot. So
I was chatting with a lender yesterday. I got to spend some time with some folks, and she had just sold one right down the street from there, so she knows that market pretty well.
Yeah.
We were talking about what's going on. So, all right, I posted last night.
So, Leah, the show's an hour. We go till 10. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
What
she said, how long is the show?
How long is the show? I just want Jason to get to his answer.
Yeah.
So I was doing a little research on politics last night. I like politics and economics and finance, all the stuff that puts everybody else to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And I was reading an article about some of these predictors to who wins the election.
Oh, yeah.
And one of them is market-based.
Yeah.
So if the Dow is at a certain percentage, it's predicted who wins like 87% of the time since like 1930.
Yeah.
And actually since like the 70s, it's been 100% right.
Oh, wow.
Which, although those elections were very different than this one.
Yeah.
Although there's some similarities to
But is that kind of like a roulette wheel that if it's gone red like 50 times in a row, you're due a black?
Yeah, it's something like that, yeah. So, in any case, this was a really interesting comment because it's so truthful. There's no way anybody would admit it in a finance article. They'd only admit it if they were talking about something else.
Yeah.
Because it's true.
Yeah.
And here's the quote. Those hoping to use equities as a thermometer, in other words, to predict the election, should be aware that the stock market has rarely been as divorced from the economy as in the last 7 years. Helped along by near zero interest rates, the S&P has returned 3.7% a quarter on average since March 2009, compared with a 0.9% gain in gross domestic product, the widest gap since World War II.
Oh, wow.
That is a absolute condemnation of what's been going on since 2009. That is a absolute punch in the face.
Yeah, basically says that productivity is not increasing, but it's saying that because we're printing so much money, that money's got to go someplace, and it's essentially people are buying assets as much as they can, and so it's driving up the price of the asset without driving up the underlying value. I mean, it's essentially
right. If you look at PE ratio, if you look at dividends, if you look at corporate gross revenue, net profit, all of it doesn't even match what's going on in the market. I mean, it's so completely disassociated.
Well, it's essentially the same thing as saying, hey, if the median wage was $50,000, and then the government came along and said, hey, just add a zero to that, so every median wage is immediately going to go to $500,000. I mean, essentially, all the prices of houses are going to go up, and all the pricing of food we're going to have inflation. It's called inflation, right? And essentially what they're saying is that, hey, on an asset value basis, we're having inflation. But in terms of productivity, we're not having an increased output.
Actually, one of the little dirty secrets out there in economics right now, if you really read it, is some very smart people. They'll tell you the only thing that's keeping the lid on inflation is employment.
Yeah, right.
And that's incredibly sobering, which is one of the reasons why we haven't seen employment really improve in the last 8 years.
Right.
So, here's the number again. We've seen 3.7% increase in the S&P quarter over quarter since 2009, with only an increase in GDP, in other words, of real production by 0.9%. So that's like a factor. That's like a factor of 4.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how far disconnected they are.
Yeah.
It's really. And when I read this, I was like, oh my gosh, you would never read this in a financial article.
Right.
Never in a million years, because it's true.
Right.
It's kind of like taking an email server and then erasing it, like cleaning it with like a cloth.
Right.
And then not turning all that stuff over, and then these guys hack in, and then they find all this stuff.
How's this any different than what Watergate happened, where they broke into a campaign, they lied about it, they didn't have email back then to erase, so they had minutes of tape, right?
Yeah.
So they erased tape. Isn't erasing emails like erasing the tape? I mean, how's this any different than Watergate?
I don't know. And even even the net result of Watergate really wasn't that bad. I mean, we're talking about national security secrets here.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and what you ended up happening there, the big difference then versus now is you actually had a Justice Department that was not as politicized, and they were actually doing their job. And then when they were told by the president at the time, to quit doing what they were doing, they all resigned instead of sacrificing their integrity. So the personal integrity of the people hey, if I'm dead tomorrow,
yeah. So you got shot in the back of the head from 500 yards away.
Yeah,
suicide.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So anyhow.
Well, I think the rumor I'm hearing is the guys at the FBI, the guys that actually do the work over there, are furious.
Yeah, I would imagine the same thing at the Department of Justice.
Yeah,
as well.
And the people who know what's going on at state.
Yeah,
that wouldn't surprise me either. Those guys are
the career people that are not,
guys are furious. Yeah. So. Well, Tom and I might not be on the show tomorrow. We'll see what happens. Yeah. But in any case, so yeah, it's amazing to me. So when you talk about what's going on in the market, I mean that's the reality. And of course, everyone's I want to keep. It was so funny. So yesterday, I meet with this private lender, and her and her husband have done hundreds of deals, and we're talking about this exact same issue. When you talk to folks about, well, what are you investing in? Oh, we're investing in real estate, and they're like, isn't that risky?
Yeah.
I'm like, you don't know you literally, you think you're safe in the capital markets because you're so ignorant.
Yeah, because you're buying Exxon stock or something like that. Yeah.
You're not safe in those markets. They don't make any sense. The guy that's on before us, who's a very bright guy, he's been in capital markets and investing for 30 or 40 years. One of the things he's saying right now is that this looks a lot like the 70s. It looks like 3, 4, 5% rates of return in the capital markets before expenses. So your net return is going to be what, 2.5%, 3% maybe, and that's on a good day, right? That's on a that's not every day. That's if you don't lose any money.
Right.
So I can't imagine. I don't feel like investing in real estate is all that risky compared to all that other stuff that's out there.
I was talking to an investor there yesterday. Can't name names or anything like that, and he was saying that this one person that has sold a business, came into quite a bit of money, things like that, and but he's been pulling money out of real estate to go invest in stuff down in Nicaragua. And I was like, oh, well, that's one way to do it.
Different.
Yeah.
I think they call that the emerging markets, right?
Right.
Let's go.
Yeah, because you can get 30 or 40% returns down there.
Yeah. Yeah, regular old
chasing alpha.
Yeah, chasing alpha. Well, we had this. Like I said, I had this meeting with these folks for a couple hours yesterday, and one of the things that we discussed is, it's about keeping that money at work and just doing it day in and day out, keeping the dollars in, keeping the dollars working. Whenever that money is not at work is when there's a problem. So whether or not you're making 6 or 7% or 8 or 9%,
right,
just keeping it at work. I see so many real estate investors that are looking for the perfect deal.
Yeah,
like this is the perfect deal where I'm only $5,000 out of pocket instead of $12,000, and it's like they're looking for that one deal all year, and they only do one deal instead of putting their money at work 100% of the year and realizing a return on 100% of it. If just some basic math skills.
Yeah.
Use a little bit of math on some of this stuff, you start to realize if the money's at work all the time.
Yeah, if people started breaking down the numbers in terms of, you get lost in $1 trillion in debt and $10 trillion in debt, and that's a lot of money. It sounds like a lot of money.
Yeah.
Because it is.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, but when you start looking at, they say that our debt has grown $10 trillion over the last 8 years. And which is a lot of money, but what they leave out in that is how much would we have spent if we didn't spend 10 trillion more? Well, it's about $3.1 trillion a year, which is about $24.8 trillion in our federal budget, which times plus the extra 10. Now we've gone to $34.8 trillion, which is about, doing the math on 300 million people, it's about $114 or I think it's $114,000 per man, woman, and child. So how many people in your family? It's 4,
we got
right?
4, right?
So 114,000 times 4.
Yeah, we're about $500,000.
228.
Yeah.
456, about $456,000 what the federal government spent based on just your family unit in the last 8 years. That's just federal. Mm-hmm. That's not state. That's not county. Mm-hmm. That's not city. I mean, what are you freaking kidding me? I mean,
yeah.
And so obviously the fix is we need more money to fix the problem.
Right.
I mean, what we really need, because, if we just had some more money, then we could fix these problems.
That's
I'm like,
right.
Are you kidding me? When is enough?
Well, and what I love is, we're just going to get it from all these rich folks.
Yeah, of course.
And I can tell you right now, we've got an army of CPAs and lawyers, and
what it really comes down to is politics is as simple as this, is that if there's 20% of the people that have a lot of wealth and there's 80% of the people that don't, it's the Pareto principle, right? It's the 80-20 rule. So all you really got to do is pander to it's the 52% that have less than the 49%, and you promise the 51% that you're going to take the stuff away from the 49% and give it to them. It's like, hey, you win the election. I mean, really, that's all it is you're saying, hey, I'm going to take from those people and give it to you, and if you do that with more people than the people that have versus the people that have not, you win.
Well, and I'll tell you,
that shouldn't be how our system works.
One of my favorite quotes, and Rush started saying this last year, our last election cycle. It's like Santa Claus.
Yeah.
What would you like for Christmas, kids?
Everything you put that on, that's what you get.
I will
give it to
free
you.
College. I want free health care. I want free, and it's not going to work.
No, it's not.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's Jason Bible, Tom Perry, Right Path Real Estate.
Well, because it kills productivity. There's no incentive to be productive.
Well, no, there's not. But for guys like us, it's just like we had this. A couple of us had this conversation last night at the Fort Ben Ria, and the people get hammered, the ones that are in the upper middle class.
Did you know that there are over $24 trillion in retirement accounts
You guys
in the US.
enjoy that. Y'all
Imagine
keep electing it. Go for it.
IRA
it's not the smart business owners and investors.
You can. Quest IRA is based locally
just
here in
buy
Houston,
more assets,
Texas.
but those support guys.
Hey, get us together, guys, on Facebook. You get us together, we get fired up.
They can be used to invest in real estate, promissory notes, private entities, and much more. Many of our clients loan money from their IRAs to fund real estate deals all over the country. We don't sell any investments or give advice. However, we do hold free networking events, weekly educational classes, and free consultations with an IRA specialist. For more information, visit our website at questira.com or call us at 1-855-FUN-IRAs to tap into the $24 trillion in retirement accounts.
I'm reading through this going, this is a really cool report. The way that it's laid out.
Does it look familiar?
Yeah, it does.
Or did they improve it?
No, it's the same thing. Yeah.
From Conroe to Galveston,
and it's obviously in the order that things should be done.
Points in between,
you do
Texas General
demo,
Insurance
disposal site,
trusted by
haul off, right?
And businesses
framing and
across
subfloor.
The great state of Texas. Whether you're searching for the best
let me show folks this. For those of y'all who are not,
policy for a Galveston
let me pull it up here so you guys can read it.
For your rental and investment homes in Houston.
For those of y'all who have never worked with Fast Track before, this is what
the Lone Star State.
This is what they
trusted independent agents.
Who bought this house yet? I probably can't show them.
We closed it today.
What the hell?
Auto and home, investment properties, commercial.
So that's what a rehab bid should look like.
Yeah, it has.
So here's
quantity per labor.
That's the scope.
Value.
Yeah, and there's a construction proposal, and then there's a room proposal. So it'll show you room by room what they're doing, and then it shows you by category what they're doing.
This is what a real rehab estimate should look like.
Yeah,
actually, it looks like we just lost
the
feed.
Go to TexasGeneralInsurance.com.
Are you expecting to close accurately, on time, and with lots of communication on your home purchase? You've come to the right place. I'm Jennifer Hernandez, Senior Loan Officer with Legacy Mutual Mortgage. Our goal is to give our borrowers and referral partners an amazing experience during the loan process.
Actually, it says 1 minute.
My team believes in putting people and culture before results. Our company concentrates on building those teams who operate with structure, process, and recognition for going the extra mile for you.
Can you guys hear
this
me
way,
okay?
we have the energy to make this the best
we can
and
mile out
give us
enough
a call
over
today
them so
to find out the simple steps to get started.
Okay, cool.
I'm Jennifer Hernandez, The Hernandez
give you like a 1 minute,
at
2 minute warning,
Mortgage.
is that too loud or too low?
Perfect.
You're good. Call 713.
You got that excellent radio voice, Andy.
Startled you guys.
3611.
No, you got that good radio voice.
Jennifer.legacymutual.com.
Thank you.
We can't wait to consult with you soon.
Thank you.
NMLS 514497.
Equal housing opportunity lender.
On.
NMLS 514497.
Still up.
I was 17 when I became addicted to heroin and meth.
All right, we're 1 minute out.
I alienated my family and my friends, and I was
No, it says it's live.
But then my mom found out about Elite
Still
Rehab
working, I
places.
guess.
I called, and they set me up with a program that helped me get the quality care.
Yeah, look,
that
it says that we're connected.
My life and my freedom.
Yeah, but this is telling us it's not.
Yeah.
And it all
So I don't know what's going on.
Making just one phone call.
But it shows that it's live here. I think just the connection's so poor.
It also says here system CPUs at 90%.
Yeah, that will always
and
run
get
it close
sober
to 100%.
in as little as 7 days. And we'll work with your insurance
Maybe we need
provider to
another
help cover
line
the
and run
costs.
this wired.
Plus, we have travel assistance programs to get you here by plane or train. Make this free call right now to learn more. 800-819-8315. 800-819-8315.
So Monday before I went on the show, like 2 minutes before I went on the show, they were having internet problems in there. And I'm like, you can't reset the motor now.
All right, I got Monster Hot right now.
Hey, welcome back. Right Path Real Estate Radio, 713-785-1817. Kind of want to apologize. We've not been talking a lot of real estate today, but we have been talking a lot of economics. And economics is important because what you have to understand is where does this property that you're buying fit in the grand scheme of things. And now we know that the median home price in Houston is about $200,000. Is it safe to buy a property more than $200,000? Absolutely. We're doing one today. We're closing on a property at 110. We're going to put $90,000 into it over the next 90 days. I don't know how these reality TV shows, I put reality in air quotes, right? I don't know how these reality TV shows do $90,000 rehabs in like 2 weeks. I don't know how that's done, but we budget 90 days for a $90,000 rehab, about $30,000, about $7,500 a week. So we'll be finished with this. Today is November 2nd?
Yep.
So November 2nd. So December 2nd, January 2nd, we should be finished around February 2nd. Mm-hmm. So they'll go on the market around February 2nd. Probably going to have a contract by March or April. Mm-hmm. Somebody's going to be moving in, probably close on it May or June.
Yep. Make
a little bit of money.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it works. Actually, I think the more important piece too is, we're buying. A lot of folks will tell you one type of real estate, like we do wholesaling, we do whatever, we do renting, we do flipping, and to build wealth in real estate, you got to do a little bit of everything. Now, you've got to have a clear plan of where you want to go. But you've got to be able to flip some houses. You got to be able to wholesale some and pick up some rentals. Need a good mix of kind
Unless
of everything.
You're going to do just a really small volume. Some people, all they want to do is they want to flip 4 houses a year and make $30,000 a house, and that's a nice 6-figure income.
Yep. Yeah, and that's not. It's not hard. I mean, when you really get to that volume, 6, 8, 10 houses a year. I mean, even when you get into the 15 or 20, I see a lot of people get stuck between 15 and 20 houses.
Where you're going to miss out on that is the amount of money that it takes to market on that, because you're probably going to spend, to find those 4 deals, you're going to spend about $20,000 in marketing just to find those deals, and that's assuming that you're good at sales.
Actually, I'd say the opposite, because you can really nitpick, bird dog these little deals. I always find somebody that's like, well, I don't spend any money on marketing. I do 6 houses a year. And I'm like, okay, well, what do you do? And they spend. Yeah, they may not spend money, but they may spend 100 hours, on that one deal, right? So that's where I think a lot of that stuff. Well, I don't spend any money on marketing. I'm like, you spend
time. Do they use that
time.
Voice when they do that?
They do. I don't spend any money. That's what it sounds like in my head. I don't spend any money on marketing. I said, you don't. And then you say, hey, you don't pay yourself, right? Well, wait a second. What do you mean? Like, somebody gets paid, right? So
Valley's saying she likes this. She wishes that we would get together on Facebook more often. And so thanks for that, Valley. Saw you last night. It was great seeing you at the Fort Ben RIA. And so say something so Right Path Real Estate knows you're here. Well,
yeah, we're here.
So what? Welcome to Right Path Real Estate Radio, 713-785-1817.
Who do we have on the show tomorrow? I know I've got Alex Cedillo on Friday for Interview and Investor Friday.
He's a tiny man, isn't he?
Oh, man. Every time I see the guy, he's got to be like 20 pounds or more muscle. The guy's a beast.
Yeah.
Anthony Miller will be here Thursday because we've got the events on Saturday. So, And then you're going to be...
Actually, that was supposed to have been last week because this was... Oh, no.
This is the first Saturday.
Yeah, this is the first Saturday coming up. That's right.
And then you're going to be in Dallas this weekend,
I'm going to be in Dallas this weekend, yeah.
Learning about what?
About multifamily.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
We're looking at multifamily.
Well, we're learning... Yeah, we're going to a class about... I mean, not that we have a lot to learn about multifamily because it's cap rate, it's rental rates. I mean, it's analyzing deals. We know how to do all that, but I felt like it would be good to go up and see what's being taught by somebody that thinks it's a good time to be buying, and because we don't think it is. So you've been listening to Right Path Real Estate Radio. We don't think it's a good time to be buying multifamily. That's it. Yeah. So, all right, guys, thanks a lot. I'll be here tomorrow with Rich Club.
Every day from 9 to 10 a.m. on Business.